Let me ask you though, although you were producing for yourself when you were an MC, putting out records, how did you make that transition though to just being a producer and shopping these yourself as a producer?
So I'm gonna give that.
That's a great question.
I was always produced. Like the first record, the first thing I ever did as a professional was I produced this record for Antoinette, rapper out of the Bronx, and Antoinette. I was maybe 14 when I did this record, and the record is terrible.
But she's super.
I hated that record, man.
Oh, damn.
I'm singing on it. It was, man. They spelled my name wrong. They spelled it Quimi. My mother had to come to the studio and black out on her manager because he wasn't trying to pay me.
Wow.
It was the wildest experience. But watching Herbie Lovebug and watching him produce Salt and Pepper and Kid and Play and Dana Dane, that's what I learned.
What was Salt and Pepper first name?
Supernature.
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 Yeah.
And I didn't really understand what producing was. So like, it would be like Herbie would be in there with Salt and Pepper. He was driving an orange 1978 Datsun that was being held together by duct tape, like no lie. Their first album dropped and Herbie disappeared. Like he disappeared for the whole summer. And when he came back, mad fat ropes, a grill. He pulled up in a cherry red 190E with Gucci seats. I was like, yo, what the hell? And he was like, I'm a producer. I'm like, oh, that's I'm gonna do that. So after producing my own stuff, I'm always like trying to produce other people. And I think two things that happen. One, I want to give a shout to my man Rick in Philly, my man Rick Young. Rick had a tap in at one point. I think it's still like this. Every person who sells hood pharmaceuticals has a crew that can rap. Yeah. And they're able to
this day. Yes.
They're able to fund independent projects and help get their crew out of the situation they're in. So we had tapped into a bunch of crews in Philly that was doing that. And so that's how I starting to make the rent and starting to be able to get on that Peter Pan, beat after beat after beat, crew after crew. Then, rocking with some crews in Harlem, same thing, beat after beat after beat. And then, but at the same time, I was still trying to get back on. Right. So my man, Ron Lawrence, I played him some stuff and he was like, yo, man, that Biggie line, man, it kind of killed your name.
The one who did Hypnotize.
Yeah, he was like, kind of like, salty your name out here, man. I don't know if you could come back out right now, but these beats are nuts. Between Ron Lawrence and I got to give a shout out to the track masters because I'd come up there, they were working on Mary's album. I'd be playing beats, but I'd be rhyming on them, and they were like, "You want to sell the beat?" Like, no, I gotta come back out. And everybody, all the major people that I was playing these records for,
but you on the record?
Yeah, but they asking me to sell the beat, and I'm like. And I didn't know how to take it because on one, I'm like, yo, am I whack? But then on the other end, I'm like, but the beats is dope.
Right.
And I'm the kid in Baisley at this point.
Oh, shit.
So I'm like, I remember like Trackmasters. I remember like, no, it was Ron Lawrence. Like, you can give 25 grand for this beat right now. I said, but these rhymes is dope. And he's looking at me like, dog, you got to understand where we at right now in this world. And I was like, all right, let's try it.
Right.
And I didn't, he's telling me he can get beats. So I'm laying up, I'm in the crib, and he gives me a call and he's like, we got 4. I'm like, what the fuck you talking about? We got 4.
4 placements.
Yeah, I'm like, what you mean 4? He said, LL just bought 3 and Mary J. Blige just bought 1.
Wow.
And I'm sitting, now I'm in Harlem. I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment in Harlem, 6th floor walk
but
up.
L don't know who he buying from, and Mary don't know who he buying from.
And
Continue the story.
He said, so who do I make the check to? I said, what you mean? He said, yo, we just sold 4 beats.
All right.
I'm like, word? And so the first thing, because back then, the producer had to bring all the equipment to the studio and remake the beat.
Yeah.
So I'm like, my first night, I've got to go to Sony Studios. I got to work on this.
54th Street on Sony? Yep. Okay.
The greatest studio on the planet.
Okay.
Besides Circle House out here. Okay. You run into anybody.
All right.
And so I get there, and I'm nervous as shit because it's like, yo, am I back and I don't even know it? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
this is your first placement as a producer.
Yeah, period.
And you're
Like,
going, and do you know you me and LL right now? You
well, I'm
know?
not meeting him for the first time.
Okay,
but
I'm saying, you're going to lay it down for the tracks down for L.
Yeah,
Okay,
and I'm like, so I'm starting to get straight nervous. Like I ain't never did this before. And I'm like, yo, I had to snap out of it. I'm on the train. I take the A train. I got my MPC in a bag. You know what I'm saying? They rented the rest of my stuff. And I walk into the studio and I walk in and, as you mentioned, Eric Nix, shout out to Eric.
Nix,
is L's A&R at the time. And L's there, and I'm sitting and I'm setting my shit up, and L walks in the room. He's like, yo, Kwame,
That's you?
What you doing?
That's crazy.
He said, are we in the wrong section? I was like, no, it's the right section. He's like, what you doing? And I was like, I'm finishing your beat.
Right.
He was like, wait, what? He said, Ron didn't make that beat? And it was nothing against Ron. Ron never said he made the beat.
Right.
But he was like, Ron didn't make the beat? I was like, nah, I made it. He was like, yo. He was like, so you want to just get on the hook?
Oh, shit.
I was like, sure. You know what I'm saying? So the first record we did was a record on his album called 10, called Throw Your L's Up. So it doesn't say featuring Kwame, but I'm like, yo, shit, I got a LL Cool J duet right. So that's the first beat, and then we worked on another record called 10 Million Stars, which is probably one of my favorite records I ever produced. And then we did this children's record called And the Winner Is, and it's like he did like a scholastic children's book, and it was like a rap record to go with that. So we did those 3 records in the first week, and then there was the other surreal moment where I was doing a show as Kwame the rapper on one side of the city, and I had to finish the show early because I had to be in the studio with Mary to do her record. And the whole time I'm on stage, doing 1989 records, I'm just like, can this shit get over with so I can get into the studio and be the new me? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, I throw off the damn polka dots and shit, and I go into the studio looking fresh, and I'm like, yo, I'm in the new lane now, and I never look back from that point.
God damn.
Yeah.